This is Rummy's Corner. Coming up on March 6th, in a bout that will be televised on the relatively new streaming app service known as The Zone, boxing fans will be treated to a heavyweight rematch between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte. These two highly regarded heavyweight contenders first met last year on August 22nd. Going into that fight, the general expectation was that Povetkin was older and on his way out. Many observers believed that Povetkin was lucky to escape with a draw in his previous matchup against Michael Hunter. Meanwhile, Whyte had been on an 11-fight winning streak since suffering his only professional defeat at the hands of Anthony Joshua back in December 2015. Now, that's not to say that everyone expected Whyte to win. There were plenty of fans who believed Povetkin still had the skills and pop to win, but by and large, the overall perception was that Whyte was on the rise and Povetkin was winding down. The action began at a very deliberate pace where each boxer was trying to establish his jab. As the opening round progressed, both heavyweights started trying to put together some short, powerful combinations. Things were competitive and they were fighting on fairly even terms. In round 2, they both continued displaying patience where they were both looking to lull the other into making a mistake that resulted in a favorable angle. Whyte and Povetkin were both throwing some hard shots, and there were a lot of two-punch combos being attempted by both fighters. Both were landing, but Whyte appeared a little faster and a little sharper. This trend continued into round 3, and the intensity level started picking up. Povetkin and the body snatcher were both landing some hard clubbing shots, and they were likewise absorbing incoming fire well. Neither guy was neglecting the body, and it was a back and forth flow where it almost seemed as if they were taking turns. Early in round 4, Whyte landed a sweet combination that dropped Povetkin. He beat the count, and Whyte was calm and collected. Whyte remained disciplined, and Povetkin rebounded quickly. Povetkin started getting a bit more aggressive, and Whyte was still boxing effectively. Later in the round, Povetkin went on the attack and Whyte clipped him with a short left uppercut that had him down again. Povetkin rose and survived the final seconds of the round without further incident. In round 5, Whyte was looking to capitalize on his momentum, but before long, Povetkin launched a missile of an uppercut that leveled the body snatcher. Whyte was down and the referee immediately waved it off. The fight was over. Alexander Povetkin had won by 5th round technical knockout. The rematch was originally slated to take place back in November, but that was postponed after Povetkin tested positive for COVID-19. So 2 big questions going into the rematch are 1, will Povetkin feel any ill effects from the virus? And 2, how will Whyte rebound psychologically after suffering such a devastating knockout loss? The answers to those questions might provide us with greater insight into who will win the rematch. So who will win the rematch? The simple answer for me is I have no idea whatsoever. I think they prove to be 2 guys who match up fairly evenly. I believe it's a true 50-50 pick'em fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if the first guy who finds a way to effectively deliver his power comes out on top. Both of these boxers have suffered a number of brutal knockdowns in fairly recent years. So there is a reasonable expectation that we will see another brutal knockdown here in the rematch, and possibly multiple brutal knockdowns like what happened in their first encounter. Whyte is in a bit of a lose-lose situation here. If he loses, that will be a devastating setback for his career and his aspirations for a title shot. If he wins, that's obviously what he wants, but he will have beaten an aging heavyweight who only recently recovered from COVID-19. The thing of it is, in my opinion, during those early rounds, to me, Whyte looked sharper, faster, and the action unfolded at a pace where Whyte is very comfortable. Povetkin has slowed down a lot, both figuratively and literally. The speed of hand and foot simply isn't what it once was for Povetkin. All the same, Povetkin overcame adversity, and he did so in dramatic style. He got up off the canvas twice, and he wasn't going to stay down without putting up a fight. The way that Povetkin set up the knockdown blow was perfectly planned and executed. He used his jab to maneuver Whyte into position for that monster uppercut. This was no lucky punch. This was a trap by design, and it worked to perfection. But can he do it again? Or was that a final moment of glory for Povetkin, who has been among the best in the division for a great many years, without ever reaching the top? Likewise, can Dillian Whyte make any adjustments that will enable him to better utilize the things that were working for him without putting himself into harm's way? Based on what we saw in their first bout, I tend to believe that the way these styles match up, that this isn't likely to be a dazzling display of defensive wizardry. No. Quite the contrary, I'm expecting another measured and deliberate slugfest, where regardless of any pre-game fight strategies, these two will clash early and often. In that sense, I think for Whyte, the best defense might mean more offense. To try and get off first, and to get to Povetkin before he gets to him. Not in an all-out reckless assault, but in terms of using activity to prevent Povetkin from discovering his optimal punching range. Whyte seemed to be more effective when he was getting off first and maintaining a little more distance. His slightly faster hands and feet could serve him well if he can keep Povetkin at arm's length. On the other hand, I think Povetkin is going to do everything he can to encourage Whyte to become overeager and exchange. This may seem ill-advised given the 2 knockdowns he suffered, but it's also what ultimately enabled him to score the winning blow. For my official prediction, I'm picking Alexander Povetkin by mid-round stoppage. Let's say in round 7. I think Whyte will be a little more selective in the rematch, and that he'll try to stay at a longer range where his quicker hands and feet will provide him with an early advantage. But sooner or later, I think the body snatcher will be drawn into another clubbing slugfest, and I think that favors Povetkin. So I like Povetkin in this one, but I'm just fired up this one is actually happening. Their first encounter was a highly entertaining battle, and I expect nothing less in the rematch. Whatever happens, may the best man win on that night. March 6th, on the relatively new streaming app service known as DAZN, a heavyweight rematch between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte. Can't wait. Who do you think will win? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.